All right, I see that ACDC shirt. You see, when you start talking to me about Pearl Harbor and Midway and Coral Sea, I mean, you hit me where I live because
Yeah,
that was the thing I was really most interested in. The Pacific Theater was from World War II is one of my favorite things to research and look up.
absolutely.
So I'm gonna look up anything that if I know the ship, I know what's going on. But that was a ship I wasn't familiar with. But I'm not familiar with destroyers and light cruisers that like I
Yeah.
am the carriers. Hey everybody, welcome to an exciting episode of Under the Dome. I'm your host Alan Orick here with Sean Williams tonight. Christmas edition. I in the front here. I got my Christmas tree here. So, um, anyway, 8-0 with backup quarterbacks. Won 9 games in a row. We secured a playoff spot. I mean, for a game that we won, a lot of people were kind of upset at the end because it felt like we almost lost. So
I think that that's justified too. Everybody seems to be disappointed and frustrated with the lack of respect that is being shown the Saints to this point. They're the first team to clinch a playoff berth, so on and so forth. One game away from doing something that has never been done in the NFC South before, which is sweep the division. And the only team standing between us and that is the Carolina Panthers. But you want that respect. You want people to sit up and take notice that this team is really doing some fantastic things, and then you play a team that's as bad as what the Falcons have been playing lately, and you do everything that you can, seemingly, to snatch defeat from the jaws of victory.
well, and that was something I was going to say. Here, the Falcons have been bad, but they beat the Raiders last week. And when we had Josh on last week, we were talking about, what they had to do to beat the Saints, and they tried it in the first half. I mean, I saw the Falcons trying to do what they did to us last year in the Dome. They put their best pass rushers against the guards. They tried rushing from the inside. They kind of moved all their linebackers up into what would essentially be the shallow cross area, the dump off area, checkdowns, to take that away. Take Kamara away. I mean, they gang tackled him every time he touched the football, it seemed. But they weren't going to let you go short. So if you were going to beat them, you had to go deep. And they got, in the first couple of drives, they got Taysom with some sacks and they got some pressure. But then he hit that 43-yard run, and they kind of reassessed their strategy after that because Taysom can move. Drew Brees, as great as he is not nearly as mobile or as fast as Taysom Hill. So
there's a lot of wide receivers in this league that aren't as fast as Taysom Hill.
Right. And it was one of those. I think at the fourth quarter it didn't happen the way it did. And we'll talk more about the fourth quarter in a little bit. But if it didn't happen the way it did, for the first 3 quarters, I don't know about you, but I'm watching this game going, okay, I can see Taysom Hill being the quarterback after Brees retires, and we'll see what we got here. Because, I mean, he was converting 3rd and longs, not just 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 13, 3rd and 17. And he is throwing bullets all over the field. The first few plays, I thought, Jared Cook dropped some passes. I thought Traquan Smith dropped some passes that they were open, but they dropped them, which kind of screwed up, some of his stats. But he was like 10 of 10 on 3rd down passing. And I know it's the Falcons. I know the secondary sucks and they can't really rush the passer. But, that was, to me, that's the difference between an athlete who can throw a football versus a true NFL quarterback. A true NFL quarterback is making those throws. An athlete who can throw a football isn't making those kind of throws.
Absolutely.
And
you can make an argument all you want for how bad the Falcons are, but I mean, yesterday was absolute proof. The old saying about on any given Sunday.
Absolutely.
How much money could you have made if you had bet, say, $1,000 on the Washington Redskins the Washington football team to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday?
Oh, I know. Or
every Sunday, regardless of how,
or the Giants with Colt McCoy beating Seattle. I mean, yeah, it's in, and they held Seattle for a long time, like 5 points. It's one of these things that, yes, on any given Sunday you can lose a game, but these are games that we should win on paper, but and we are winning, but it's games that people, if you don't have a good backup quarterback who can win games. I mean, I'm watching the Dallas Cowboys here play the Ravens. Look at the Dallas Cowboys and that offense. Here you've got all these weapons. Their offense hasn't been beat up nearly as much as their defense, and yet that offense with the Red Rifle, I can't think of his name right now.
Dalton.
With Dalton, it's not like how it was with Dak. When Dak Prescott was in there, Dak Prescott was on a pace to throw for 6,000 yards. And I don't care who they're playing. Dalton's best game, I think, was that victory he had. Who was that against? It was 2 weeks ago. It wasn't Thanksgiving. It was 3 weeks ago then.
Well, if you're looking at Dallas wins, that's a pretty short list.
Yeah. But it's, you shouldn't see the drop off that you did see with Dallas with an experienced backup quarterback, but you did.
Well, another thing is just about the time that enough time has passed in the transition from Dak to Dalton.
Oh, it was a Vikings. That's right. It was the Vikings game. That's the game where he looked good.
In the time frame that you had for there to start being a little better cohesiveness and a little better grasp of everything that you're doing with Dalton, he wound up getting hurt and being knocked out. And then it's just like starting all over again.
Well, and, they pulled that kid, off the practice squad. And he kind of gave Pittsburgh a run for their money, which, once again, Pittsburgh losing to Washington, you got a lot of people saying, well, it was only a matter of time because they weren't as good as their record made them out to be.
I think that Pittsburgh is as good as their record says they are, but they have a bad habit, like the Saints used to do, of playing down to their competition. They don't play their game. They play good enough to win, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And the Saints used to be really bad about that.
Oh, the Saints can still do that. I mean, 2011 they lost to the 0-8 Rams because they played down to that level of competition. That's one of the best Saints teams ever. But
the teams like the Saints right now, the Steelers right now, going against teams like Washington and Atlanta, respectively, you have to understand and recognize that those guys have absolutely nothing to lose. And conversely, the Saints and the Steelers, they have everything to lose. They have got to put their level of play up here and keep it there. Well, they're not actually playing against the Falcons in so much as they're playing against themselves in a lot of ways.
Well, and that was one of the things I was going to say. We were talking about, since the Saints clinch the a playoff spot this week, and they have the possibility of winning the division Sunday, because we're going to assume, let's just say that the Bucks lose this Sunday. The Saints beat Philadelphia. They should clinch the division, because mathematically it wouldn't be possible for the Bucks to catch up, because they would have 6 losses and there's only 4 games left. And even if the Saints lost the remaining 4, we win because of the head-to-head. The head-to-head. Calvin saying, "Cut it out, Sean. Let's not speak of that with the Eagles coming up." But actually, I'm getting ready to go there, Calvin. You know, we can win the division, but to keep that number 1 seed, we really have no losses to give right now.
None.
Because the Packers are only 1 game behind us. They've got
with the tiebreaker.
Yeah, yes, with the tiebreaker, head-to-head tiebreaker. And because Seattle lost to the Giants, you know, we would end up being just tied with the Packers if we have 1 loss and they win outright, which is not good. We needed Seattle to finish with the same record as us and the Packers in a 3-way tie for it to work out for us, only because in a 3-way tie, it's conference record is the first tiebreaker, because that's the common denominator. They can't do head-to-head first, because head-to-head doesn't work for New Orleans and Seattle because we didn't play each other. So that tiebreaker gets canceled out. They go to the first common tiebreaker, which would be conference record, you know. So we do need Green Bay to lose.
Yes.
And I don't think it'll be this weekend. I do think it'll be week 16 against the Titans, because this was the good news. By the Titans losing Sunday, you've now made them a desperate team, because the Colts won, because you got to follow that division too.
Yeah.
You know, the Colts won. They need to win to stay in the playoff race and possibly win the division. So I didn't want, say, week 16, the Titans can't do any better. They don't play Derrick Henry that day. I want to see Derrick Henry run over some Packers that Sunday. You know, so that's my hope for that game. You know, so we're talking week 16 now. That's a week after we play the Chiefs. That's when we play the Vikings. You know, so it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
It's gonna wind up coming down to the wire, I do believe.
Well, I don't. You know, unless the Packers lose 2 games, I don't see, or we beat the Chiefs and the Eagles. I can't see us resting any starters yet. Which, you know, again, that's a long way from now. But if you're looking at it, you know, where we have the number 1 seed and we can rest starters in week 16, and that would be the only in week 17, and that's the only way, you know, we don't sweep the NFC South. That's the only thing I'm concerned about right now. But watch the Packers. I'm really watching what's happening to the Bucks. I'd like for the Falcons to do us a solid and sweep the Bucks. I don't
that
think
would be
that'll
awesome.
happen, but I would love it for the Bucks to lose 3 more games and finish the season 8-8, and maybe not even make the playoffs. That would just be awesome. But I don't think that's going to happen, because I just can't see the Falcons. Falcons have the offense to beat the Bucks, but their defense just it's not there. I mean, even they blitz the hell out of Tom Brady, and the defense played well. Their defense played well on Sunday, better than they did 2 weeks ago. But I just don't see them having the power to beat the Packers. I mean, to beat the Bucks twice. I just don't see it. I can only see maybe one win.
Where do they play?
They play just like they played us. They play the Bucks weeks 15 and 17 within 2 weeks of each other. So
they haven't played him yet?
They haven't played him at all yet.
Oh, okay.
No, they finished the season with him. So they play twice in 3 weeks. Yeah, I would love for the Falcons to do it. I really would. I mean, that would really make my day because I would really enjoy seeing the Bucks go 8-8. I'd like them
Yes.
to lose this week because I think they play Minnesota this week. Yeah, they do play the Vikings this week. I'd like for them to lose this week and then get swept by the Falcons and they finish 8-8 because they finished 7-9 last year. Finishing 8-8 because they got Tom Brady in their all-star team, just be perfect, and still don't make the playoffs because they haven't been in the playoffs since 2008. Okay, so that's a lot of the scenarios, and that's why I said there's not a lot of losses that we could possibly give. I don't want to count the Chiefs game as a loss, and judging by the way our defense is playing, I'm not set on saying, okay, that's probably good. If we're going to lose a game, that's probably going to be the one anymore because I've watched quite a few Chiefs games.
Yeah.
And granted, when they're on and Patrick Mahomes is slinging that ball over the damn field, they are next to impossible to stop.
Yeah, there's got to be a solution for Tyreek because he can beat you alone.
Yes,
and like you say, when Mahomes is playing well and he's on his game, you see that. I think it was last week, 4 touchdowns in the first quarter, 200 and some odd yards receiving in the first quarter. We're talking about Madden numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, this past Sunday, I forget who it was that they were playing.
They were
playing,
yeah.
There too, as we were talking about earlier, they seem to have this deal where they're playing down to the people that they're playing to.
It's just like the 2011 Saints. They seem to hit this lull where they're not really moving the ball very much anymore on offense, and they're not scoring a lot of points. Tampa Bay, they almost lost that game. Like you said, Tyreek Hill, 200 yards in the first half. He doesn't do much in the second half, and the Chiefs aren't looking very good in the second half.
Well, he was probably exhausted.
Well, and then when it mattered, they turned it on.
Yeah.
They got what they needed to do to win a game.
And sooner or later, though, teams that do that invariably they reach that one point.
It was Denver. It was Denver last week.
Yeah.
I can't remember who it was.
And Denver played with them. They played with the team that we absolutely destroyed the week before. Played with the world champs.
No quarterback, and that was to our advantage because we knew we could wear that defense out. But yeah, I mean, and they almost lost to the Raiders twice, and the Raiders ran out of gas. Basically, that was the story with them. So, but I was saying, if we lose a game, that's not a bad game to lose because it's an AFC game. I don't want to lose to the Eagles, the Vikings, or the Panthers. Unless we beat the Chiefs, and I don't worry about the Panthers. But I don't want to lose to an NFC team because I need that conference record to be sterling. I need only one loss in that conference record in case we get into the tiebreakers. But and this Atlanta game, one of the questions I have for everybody. Okay, so Taysom Hill has fumbled the ball, I think, 6 times in his 3 starts. Now, I'm going to say that, I can't believe I put a quotation mark instead of a colon, but I'm sorry. That's my typing from a distance here. I'm going to say that they had 3 fumbles. They charged him with 3 fumbles on Sunday. One of them was the pitch to Kamara that Kamara didn't handle properly. He had to fall on the ball because it counted as a backwards pass. That really wasn't on Taysom. That was really on Kamara. It could have been a better pitch, but Kamara still should have caught it. All right.
He's caught worse.
Yeah. The second one is the forward pass that they said was a fumble. And I call that a makeup call because they gave the Saints Matt Ryan's forward pass. It was a fumble. So they were consistent. Both cases, it could have been a forward pass. I didn't see the empty hand. I thought the ball went forward in both cases. It wasn't that clear to me, but they gave it to him. So I'm mad at Taysom for trying to throw it away instead of just taking a sack and live to play another down. That was only second down. You're still in field goal range. A field goal probably puts this game out of reach. But the third one, the fumble, the backwards fumble, when he tried to run that end around, and it could have been 3rd and 2, but because he holds the ball so far out from his body when he's running, they just punched it out. It bounced backwards. Fortunately, it went out of bounds, but the gains in the balance were only up by 5, and if they recover that ball, they're on our side of the field. I mean, you cannot, and it's been every week. We've seen a couple of these fumbles like this. And
I think it's becoming alarming, actually.
Yeah.
It's not just a one-time thing. You can't explain it away. He's a new playing a new position. Okay, that's all fine and good 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But you haven't seen any improvement whatsoever in that aspect of his game in either of the three games that he started. And I think he needs to improve on his ball security.
Yes, because what did they say about the Denver game? We as long as we don't make a stupid mistake, and give them the ball, we should handle this team easily, right? And what was the only points that Denver got the whole game was a 58-yard field goal because of an interception that Taysom Hill threw. So, that and we've had turnovers by Drew Brees too, that kind of, it set up like the Raiders game, set up the other team in position to take a lead. In 2009, when we won the Super Bowl, we had a plus on the turnover giveaway ratio. In 2011, when we didn't go to the Super Bowl, I think we were either like +1 or +2 or dead even on the turnovers. We weren't getting a lot of turnovers. If we're in the negative on turnovers, and I think we're either even or -1 now, but no, I think we're even because we were even last week. We didn't lose any of those turnovers that we didn't we recovered the Falcons one, and then we fumbled it right back, so it was even again. But if we're even or in a minus, you don't win playoff games, and that's how we lost the Vikings game. We lost because of turnovers. That's how we lost the 49ers game. Really, we had 5 turnovers in that playoff game in 2011. That's how we lost to Seattle in 2013. Too many turnovers. I think we had 3 in that one or 2 in that one. So, I mean, even as good as the defense is, turning the ball over will cost us in the playoffs, and that's a big concern for me. The pass interference calls and the penalties were concerning to me only because it feels like that was the reputation the team had just finally shook off. You know, this is a team that likes to grab, and this is a team that likes to play physical. And I thought we kind of got away from that reputation for penalties by playing that way, and they were kind of more or less what they do as it gets towards the end of the season anyway. They kind of just let them play, and here we are against Atlanta. It's 21-9, and suddenly now we're getting flagged left and right. We had 10 penalties, and I agree, Chad. Some of them were ticky-tack. I thought some of them should have been picked up, or they could have gone both ways. and they were giving them second life. So eventually Atlanta does score and gets it within 5.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you?
Well, I think there too. The only common denominator that I can bring to bear in, as you just said, we had started to shed that reputation.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest difference that I can see is this week we were having to play a reserve at cornerback because Jackrabbit was out.
Yeah, and
When he's in there, these calls aren't being made.
Well, and yeah, Patrick Robinson went out, so that was okay. I'm looking at the Saints turnover differential right now. When Patrick Robinson went out, that's when Julio started to come to life because they had Lattimore on Ridley and they had Robinson on Julio, and the Falcons couldn't do anything. They were trying to throw the ball to anybody else. They threw to Russell Gage a couple times. Is that his name, Russell Gage?
Yes.
Okay. I know he's the LSU player. I just couldn't think of his first name. And they tried throwing to Hunter Henry a couple times. Okay, so we're still +7. Wow. I guess all those Tampa Bay turnovers are keeping us afloat. Yeah, we're +7. Kansas City's +11. So that's, yeah. And in 2011, we were, hang on, it's coming up. There it is. In 2011, we were -3. So I knew we were either 0 or close to or early negatives. So, and in 2009, I want to say we were +12 or +13, but I don't remember anymore. The mind's the first thing to go.
Yeah.
And we were +11 in 2009. I know we had 7 touchdowns off of turnovers.
Yeah.
So,
Thank you, Darren Sharper.
Exactly. We're being +7 now. You can see how close we are to being that 2009 kind of team. And just for curiosity's sake, we'll go back to 2018 and look at that one. In 2018, we were.
I would dare say we were in the negative that year.
No, we weren't in the negative. We were +8. We were +8 in 2018.
Wow.
Yeah. No, we really have gotten a lot better. So, obviously the higher up you are for turnovers and the giveaway takeaway, the better you are. Yeah, we had 12 interceptions in you know why we were so high? Because we didn't turn the ball over at all in 2018. We barely turned the ball over. We got 12 interceptions. We only threw 7. And we had 9 fumbles. So we had 16 total in 2018. In 2019, we were even better. We set an NFL record, but of course, we turned the ball over twice in the playoff game, so it all went to shit. But we were +15 in 2019 because we only had 6 interceptions and 2 fumbles, whereas we picked off 13 passes and recovered 10 fumbles. So, that's, to me, that's always the most important stat out there.
That's how you win games. That's difference maker in close ball games.
Exactly. And you don't. Oh, hey, Anna. It's just like special teams, special team return yardage. You get the special teams you win that special teams battle, that hidden yardage. You're setting up in better field position. It looks statistically like, oh, look, we only had 50 yards rushing on the ground. We only threw for 200 yards, but we scored 45 points because we were always on their side of the field. We had over 200 yards in return yardage that we got against that team. So, I mean, that's all part of winning. It's how you win a game. So
tell me, you have a much better bearing on this than I do, being from there and I'm up here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that I heard whispers maybe Sunday that a certain player was eyeing a return soon.
Okay.
Breeze.
Oh. Well, we'll find out for sure on Wednesday because he can come off of IR on Wednesday. That's what started the story. And then
Okay.
he was at the Atlanta game, which he did not travel to the Denver game. He traveled to the Atlanta game, and he was out there with no football in hand, going through what he does all the time, the whole
doing his reads.
Doing his reads, pump fake, go through his progressions, acting like he's running the offense. He did all those things. I don't see him playing. I really don't. I don't think the Philadelphia game is a game he needs to play because, and I agree, Calvin, the Eagles are terrible. I mean, or let's just say it like Charles Barkley did when he was a member of the 76ers. They're terrible. They're terrible. Yeah.
I don't think that there's really maybe the Chiefs game, but you play against that Chiefs defense and you're going to run a higher risk of him getting injured again. So I think there legitimately could be some validity in not playing him until the playoffs.
I wouldn't do that. No, I would not do that. I really don't want to see Taysom Hill against the Chiefs right now because if we lose, then people are going to be like, why didn't Drew play? And if we win, it's going to be more of
keep Drew on the sideline.
Yeah, keep Drew on the sideline until the playoffs. Maybe you don't even play him at all. I don't know. So
I don't think that there's any question whatsoever about if you have Drew Brees that's healthy and ready to go that you play him. Now, I do understand the strategy of timing it right. Like I say, the Chiefs have a really good defense, and you absolutely run the risk of losing him for the rest of the playoff run if he gets hurt in Kansas City game.
Yeah, but they can also game plan it. I mean, here's the thing. You have a chance to have Armstead back this week because I think his quarantine for the COVID will be up. So Armstead gets back this week. Pete now has a week after his concussion. He had a bad first half, but he picked it up in the second half. You have a chance to kind of get that offensive line all together and straight with Taysom against the Eagles and get their confidence up to match up against, Frank Clark and the rest of the crew over there in Kansas City. So I feel like, I want to get the rest of the team ready. I want Jack Rabbit out there. I want Davenport back out there. I want to see everybody out there except for Breeze get a game where we just kick the shit out of somebody. And Philadelphia is the perfect, kid to go beat up on. Get your confidence up. And then, well, unfortunately, the contract says otherwise over there in Philadelphia. They can't afford to cut him.
And they can't afford to bench him either.
Yeah, they did.
I saw that.
We'll talk about Jalen Hurts in a minute. But, yeah, they're stuck with him. I think the coach goes before I think Wentz does anyway. So, my attitude with this – Jerry loves your shirt. My attitude with this is let's just get the rest of the team ready to play Kansas City and let Drew play Kansas City, knowing that at worst, if Drew is struggling or it seems like he's getting hit, let's go ahead and put Taysom in to kind of take over from there and, and go from there. But I don't want to keep Drew on the sideline any longer than I have to. I really do.
Well, I get that. And you don't want to have to, and this may be what the point you were making, you don't want to get to that first playoff game and have to depend on that chemistry to come back immediately.
Yeah. I mean, who are the people? I mean, Drew's only played with Michael Thomas 2 games this season, this entire season. 2 games. Thomas has had 2 great games against the Falcons. I need to see Drew and Thomas get that chemistry again. He was just starting to get it with Sanders when he got hurt. Sanders had some good games. He had a great game against Tampa. He had a good game the week before. I want to see that stuff first. So if it's a matter of playing in a shootout game against the Chiefs, which I don't think it will be, but if it is a matter of playing a shootout game, that's the game I want to see Brees get ready for. I want to see how healthy he is. I don't need to see him against Minnesota and Carolina, because I'm hoping Carolina is that game where we don't have to play him, that we can play Taysom or Winston. We could pacify the people who want Jameis Winston in so bad, and they say, well, here you go. There's Jameis. Have at it.
Yeah.
I'd rather. I'm not hooked on a 14-2 record. I can live with yet another for the 3rd season in a row, 13-3, as long as we're the first seed and division champs. I'm good with that. I think
that the focus needs to be that first round bye. We've already practically won the division. You want to have that first round bye.
Yeah.
You want that number 1 seed so that the road to the Super Bowl has to come through your house.
I mean, there's no home field advantage. And one of the things that, unfortunately, they've been talking about, and the Ravens had another COVID positive test tonight. Des Bryant was supposed to play against the Cowboys, and they yanked him off the field and told him, hey, dude, you tested positive. You got to sit. And this is why he was warming up. Okay. There's talk about having a bubble playoff. So the teams would play in a neutral stadium, and they would play their games with no fans. They would be in hotels, training facilities that are sealed off where there's no interaction, so there are no positive tests. So, the number 1 seed doesn't give you home field advantage, plus Latoya the Destroyer ain't going to allow a lot of people in the damn stadium anyway. But that's DeFuhrer, the mayor of the city, the high school championship. In fact, it's going to be in your neighborhood. No, I'm sorry. It's going to be other side of the state, Monroe. It's not going to be where you are.
Where's it going to be? Shreveport?
Yeah, ULM, I think, is where they're going to be.
ULM is right across the.
Hang on. Let me see. I just got to look at this real quick. They said it to me earlier tonight. Hang on. It is Northwestern.
That's in Natchitoches.
Natchitoches. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Northwestern State. So,
Demons.
Yep. So, because they were worried at the last minute, Latoya the Destroyer would say, you know what? That's too many people. We're not going to allow fans in the stadium. Well, it's high school games. These kids want to, their parents want to watch their kids win a state championship. I got to do that. I got to watch my child win a state championship. So, they just said, you know what? We're going to move it up to Northwestern. It's an open air stadium. Don't have to worry about anything. Boom, it's done. And
I remember when I think it was during the Katrina thing, they held the state title games in Shreveport at Independence Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I've never known them to play it here in Monroe, though.
Well, it's unfortunately a lot of kids, and I get it because I remember going to watch my high school play in the Superdome, it's pretty damn cool to
Yeah.
play in the Superdome, and that's why the kids want to play state in the Superdome, especially if you're coming from Evangel or high school up north or out west, like LaGrange, Larange, one of those schools that are out, Jennings,
Yeah.
anybody that's out there. It's pretty cool to come to New Orleans to watch a high school football game.
Well, I mean, face it, if you're a high school football player, it's not everybody that gets to have that experience.
Absolutely.
And that's an experience of a lifetime.
Yeah, and you were playing on the Saints field. You get to dress. I don't know if you get to go in that locker room, but you get to go to a locker room that's, an NFL locker room, that kind of stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a unique experience for these guys. And you're looking around like, this is where, Patrick Mahomes got dressed. And, this is where these guys, this is, you're in that same kind of locker room, getting ready to play a football game. You come out in that stadium. And I've been on that floor for Endemic Extravaganza, Mardi Gras ball, and you look up at that stadium and you look around at that stand, you can imagine what it's like in there. So, yeah, it's a unique experience. It really is. So anyway, bring it back to the NFL. So the idea is if they have this bubble playoff system, you'll have all the playoff teams playing in 3 or 4 neutral sites. So that kind of destroys your home field advantage, whatever home field advantage you possibly could have. You end up like the 49ers playing in Arizona. And so the only thing you really want is just that week's rest where you get to watch everybody else play. And you only have to win 2 games to go to the Super Bowl, not 3. So, yeah, that's true. I forgot about that the day I got married. My brothers just reminded me. Back in 1995, it was the only year they did this. They held the NFL draft party for the Saints in the Superdome. So you're walking around the floor, and they had all kinds of stuff. They had display booths and things like that. I got to get to listen to a defensive coach seminar. Not Lane Kiffin, the old man. Monty Kiffin. Monty Kiffin was the Saints defensive coordinator only 1 year in 1995. And he explained his defensive philosophy, and he was doing it with chairs. It was hilarious. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. This chair is your mic, and this guy's doing here, and he's moving chairs around, on the stage. I was laughing my ass off. I had never seen a coach, and he was animated. I mean, this guy
he's very animated.
This guy was in his 60s, and he was loving every minute of it. So, yeah, April 22nd, 1995. That was my wedding anniversary. I was getting married that night, so during the day, we needed something to do. So my brother, my dad, and I went to the NFL draft party. And Mark Fields was who we drafted in the first round that year. Yeah. That was the year the Jets fans were chanting, "We want Sapp," because Warren Sapp was falling down the thing. And they took, I think, Kyle Brady. I think is who they took that year.
Kyle Brady.
Warren Sapp with 1 pick in front of us, because I was like, in my mind, I had a certain player in mind. I don't even remember who it was, but I was like, damn, Warren Sapp could fall to us at 15. Hell yeah, I'll take Warren Sapp. So yeah, I'm looking at the chat right now. Jerry and Anna are going on listing, and now Chad listing all the AC/DC songs they like. Chad says my favorite AC/DC song is Money Talks. Razor's Edge is his favorite album. Anna loves Thunderstruck, which
there is no better adrenaline song.
Allegedly, Thunderstruck's with the pilots that were in Desert Storm were listening to when they were dropping bombs and shit on Iraq. They were listening to Thunderstruck. Highway to Hell. That's my daughter's favorite AC/DC song.
I had $1 for every time that I played that song.
I'll throw a couple ACDC era, Bon Scott era songs, Big Balls,
Yep.
Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap,
Love it.
and which I used to have that album. I don't have that album anymore. The first album I ever heard cranked up in a car was Back in Black. And
That's what this.
yeah. And I'm just telling you right now, he had put it on side. He had it on side too, so it wasn't Hell's Bells that started the tape. This cassette tapes, boys and girls, not 8-track.
Google it.
Oh, Let There Be Rock. Here's my brother.
Yes, that was a fantastic song.
Anyway, it was my best friend Adam's older brother Arthur had a 72 Cutlass. And he had put it wasn't anything special. I mean, it wasn't a badass engine. I think it had a 305 in it. Wasn't a 350 or anything like that. But anyway,
it was a 72 Cutlass though.
Yeah, it was brown. I do remember that. He had spent all the money on a stereo system, and we got in the car. He started it up, and you can hear the hum of the tape. That's how loud it was. Get ready, come on. I'm hearing that hum of the tape, and he hears, burn, down, and I'm like, holy shit. It was 1980, so I was 12 going on 13, and I'd never heard music that loud in my life. And it sounded like a friggin' rock concert. I mean, we had the windows down, and you could hear that crap. I mean, they got people in parking lots across the way turning around looking, who the hell is playing that? And yeah, so that album became one of my favorites.
Oh yeah, my mom bought me that.
And then when I was in my college years, for those of you who live in Lafayette know this bar, the Loose Caboose out on the Strip. It was a converted trailer that they turned into a bar, sitting out on the Strip where all the bars were. So you get in that thing, and the whole place sways as you walk, because it's on cinder blocks. It's got to be on the cinder blocks. I mean, it couldn't. They had closed off all the bottom so it wouldn't fall over, it wouldn't blow over. But it was like a double wide that just turned to a bar, and they had a blown speaker. But every time the only reason why you go in there, you get Pat's Blue Ribbon for 50 cents a cup or $3 for a pitcher. So you're a struggling college student. You ain't got much money. Yeah, like Calvin's laughing his head. Yeah, my brother knows. Loose Caboose, play pool and drink. I'm listening to the entire Back in Black album every single time we went in that place. And so, after You Shook Me All Night Long ends, all of us, there was 5 of us in our group. Every time that's on, we go, yeah, because you got to do it because it's the next song. So yeah, and it's distorted coming out of a blown speaker, and they just cranked it. Didn't matter,
Yeah.
So it was awesome.
How does it sound? It's loud.
Oh yeah, it was awesome, and we're screaming the lyrics, and we're screaming it just like Brian Johnson does.
Oh yeah.
It's about to rock. Just like the whole thing, and making jokes. How does this guy sound when he gets off of work? After a concert.
Gargles Drano.
Right. So yeah, it was hilarious. It really was. So anyway, that's college, and you're drinking Pat's Blue Ribbon because you ain't got but maybe $20 the whole night to go out with anyway. So I figure after drinking a pitcher of Pabst Blue Ribbon, didn't give a damn what the hell I drank the rest of the night because my taste buds were dead. So,
they use that stuff to take paint off the paint brushes.
Oh my God! I mean, all the drink specials. We knew everyone. There was Drinking with Lincoln. There was $5 because it's $5 all you can drink. The 2-for-1 nights. Beat the clock night. All that stuff. I already told that story before about the free case of beer, right? That tell you, oh yeah, Taco Bell at 2 a.m. That's why I don't drink I don't eat Taco Bell anymore. Too many nights drinking all night than eating that crap. God. There ain't nothing worse than alcohol and greasy ass food.
Has a boomerang effect. Let's just put it that way.
Later that night, when the digestive system goes, "What the fuck is this?" So anyway, this needs to go now, and it's just one of those. Yeah, one of those. It's not quite the Eagles one of those nights, but it is one of those nights.
Yeah.
But anyway, they one bar I used to go to called the Pub. They had a McKinley Street pub. It doesn't exist anymore either. But they had the Rolling Rock beer was the new beer they were promoting. I guess a distributor became a distributor of Rolling Rock beer. Yeah, no, not Taco Bell, not for me. Anyway, you had to like on the bottle. Remember this green bottle? They had like a horse's head, and they had numbers on it and everything else. And to win this case of this beer, you had to figure out what the horse's head was for, what the symbol, what was the purpose, like all these things. If you could answer those three questions, you got a free case of this beer. So, we've been drinking for a while, so you can imagine the kind of answers we were putting in there. What was the purpose of the horse's head? Well, that's who filled the bottle. We stick that in there, we were coming up stuff, what was the
okay?
purpose
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I was going to say I got a trivia question for you.
Okay.
Jägermeister. Have you ever seen the label on a bottle of Jaeger?
Yes, I have.
What's prominently portrayed there?
A deer's head. And
do you know the significance of that?
And a cross telling you don't ever drink this crap. I used to know this. Hang on. I don't remember anymore.
Originally, Jägermeister, in its German birth and existence, it was made from deer blood and opium.
That probably would taste better than Jägermeister. The worst night of my college life, and I only did it one time, and I didn't get drunk because I stopped after one round. They decided to play quarter bounce. And for those of you, that was the games you used to play before they had the ping pong ball and that bullshit you guys do today. They decided to do quarter bounce with Jägermeister. And I did one round of it, and I'm like, good God, just go ahead and give me the vinegar over there. I'll drink that instead. It's like vinegar and cough syrup mixed together. I'll pass. But I know people usually drink that crap. I can't do it. I really can't. I can't drink like that in all. Period. Oh, Calvin mentions sounds like nights at the Western Club in West Monroe.
Yep.
There was a bar we went to. I have no idea where it was. It was somewhere outside of Erath. I think, or it might have been somewhere outside of Rayne, Louisiana. All I know is it was wagon wheels at the entrance and said "Trail Riders Welcome." And I was making more Blues Brothers jokes. I'm like, "Where's the chicken wire?" Yeah, I bet they play both kinds of music in here, country and Western. I have no idea where the hell it was like Bob's Country Bunker. We drove forever to go to this place. And when we got there, it was more like the crowd, at least, that was there. It was more like in Animal House when they showed up at Dusty Lake Club.
Mm-hmm.
They open that door, the music stops, and everyone looks at us, and I'm looking at it, and it's all white people, so it's not quite like Dusty Lake Club, but it's everybody stops and looks at us, and I'm like, we're the only ones who the men and women aren't wearing matching shirts. You know, we don't have cowboy boots on. This is not the kind of place that people like us should be in right now. Not young obnoxious college students. But I had a great time. I mean, the people were cool and everything else like that. But they were really like, that was a local bar, and
Y'all were not local.
we were not welcome there. No, the weirdest name of a bar I've ever been to. Oh, thank you, Genevieve. Genevieve likes my Christmas tree. The weirdest name bar I've ever been to was in, I don't think it exists anymore, but it was in, where the hell was it? Anybody in the Lafayette area will remember this. Purple Peacock. I kid you not, it was called the Purple Peacock.
That sounds, no, I ain't going there. Never mind. Go ahead.
No, it wasn't like the Blue Oyster Bar. Over there in police.
That was where I was going with that.
Yeah, no, not the Blue Oyster Bar, but yeah, that was probably the strangest bar I've ever been to. It was fun too. Those are cool people.
We used to have one here in town. It was the only heavy metal bar in town. So it was the only place that we all got to play, and it was called the Cartoon Lounge. There was a painting of I think it was the Pink Panther as you go in.
Mm-hmm.
All it was a house that had been completely gutted. You're up there playing on stage and you're walking around the post that holds the ceiling up.
Ooh, actually those are some of the best bars. Nick's Bar in New Orleans was like that, just a dive bars, and I know they do a whole special on that on the Food Network and stuff. But dive bars, some of those, if you get into a yes, Chad knew that joke, Blue Oyster. I've been to the Dungeon in the Quarter, yeah, and I've been to Gold Mine too. Flamin' Dr. Pepper's a gold mine. I know all about that too. Yeah, if you go to some of these hole in the wall bars, if they've got a cool group of people in there, it's a good place to go. Now, if you get with the wrong crowd, I was lucky. I had a big guy with me. So if I walked into a situation, there was enough of us together that we could handle ourselves. But yes, some of them, it gets kind of sketchy. I went to some place that had women dancing in cages too, and that was outside of Morgan City in Berwick. There was some bar that had women dancing cages. That was the selling point of this place, and that was a lot of oil field people. So
about the only place here that would fall in line with that, and Calvin may be familiar with the Mirage.
The Mirage?
Yeah.
And it's funny because I'll go around and look, and I'm like, one bar I used to go to became a Blockbuster, which tells you how long it's been since I've been in that bar, and now it's like a Cleaners. I mean, it's just, I'm lucky. Most of the bars I stopped that I went to are gone. My kids have only been to a couple places that I have been to.
The Cartoon is now a Penske parking lot.
Yeah. I've been to one bar. Actually, it was a shot bar. It was nothing but shots, and it was on Ferret Street here in New Orleans. It was called a Sitting Duck, and that was a great place. That was a really cool place. It wasn't a place where you meet a lot of people and stuff, but it had cheap shots, and some of the most filthy, obnoxious, disgusting names that you could think of for a shot. That's what they had up there. So you're asking for, these names. So yeah, but it was a good place. I used to have a t-shirt. In fact, I got a picture of me wearing a Sitting Duck t-shirt because we liked that place so much. We bought t-shirts. But all right, so enough of memory lane there with bars and things. All right, so let's look at the Eagles game. Let's assume Taysom Hill is going to start. Jalen Hurts will make his first start. He's a rookie, and I know the Saints' reputation against rookie quarterbacks is sketchy at best. How do you see this game playing out?
Well, to be honest, at the level that let me start over. the level that this defense is playing at right now, the
Mhm.
rookie quarterback doesn't scare me so much as the fact that it's Jalen Hurts. And make no mistake about it, Jalen Hurts is a very talented and capable quarterback. I don't think that the Eagles provide enough of a supporting cast for him to be optimally effective, but we should be able to handle this and get out of it with the way we want to.
I totally agree. I think, part of the reason why Carson Wentz has looked so bad is because his offensive line is a train wreck. It really is. And so, if Marcus Davenport comes back from his concussion, which I think he should, but if he's back, I really think our defensive line will just dominate the Eagles' offensive line. And if you've got a mobile quarterback, if Davenport and Hendrickson and Cam Jordan can keep him in the pocket, I think it's going to be a sack fest, first off. But secondly, I think Onyemata and Davis can really cause him a lot of problems and make him throw the ball early. And that will open up the case for turnovers, because Quan Alexander, although he didn't play very much Sunday because the Falcons throw the ball more than run, I think Quan Alexander and Davis is more than enough to handle a running quarterback.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And on the other side, I don't think that that their defense is going to be formidable by any stretch of the imagination. Once again, and it seems like a weekly thing here lately, we seem to catch the right team at their most disadvantageous point. You look at this, and then Atlanta and Denver and Atlanta. We seem to really be fortunate in that aspect this year.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the 49ers being without their quarterback and without Kittle, and people say, well, I don't care, man. You got to line up and play the people that are on your schedule.
That's exactly it. It's the same thing I said about the Steelers. I mean, yeah, people knock the Steelers because who they beat and saying they were fraud or they're not quite as good of a team as they make them, as the record shows. But you can only play who's on your schedule. And with COVID and injuries, you can't predict that. I mean, some people looked at, I have an article I read from the Tampa Bay Times that they were optimistic that they had a chance to catch up to the Saints because they thought Jameis Winston was going to start these 3 games or these 4 games that Brees was out, and that the Saints would struggle because of that, or they would do the turnovers and all these things, and we end up getting Taysom Hill, who will make his 4th start Sunday, hopefully. And no one expected him to do what he's done out there. They didn't expect him to look this good. They thought, okay, you throw him out there, and after a while, you're going to start playing Winston to really get your offense going, because he's just a gimmick guy. And he turned out to be a pretty good quarterback, except for the turnovers, but he turns out to be a pretty good quarterback. So, I kind of lost my train of thought for a second there. So, the big thing is that you play who you say you're going to play. Any given Sunday, someone can win. But how good of a team you are is how well you play when you've lost people because of injuries. So to me, that's the difference. That's the total difference, because you've got to play your schedule and beat the teams you're supposed to beat. And I think this is a team we can beat. I think defensively we can dominate them. I think offensively they won't be able to handle our weapons. They've got 2 weapons, really. They've got a good receiver, and they've got a really good tight end. But we've shown over the past few weeks now, we've taken away that bootleg that used to eat us up. We've taken away, a lot of those weapons that these guys used to take advantage of with our defense. As long as we don't beat ourselves with turnovers and penalties, we should blow this team out.
And going back to the beginning of the show, that's exactly what I said. In a lot of respects, when we play these teams that seem to be in a bad way or not in a real good position, we're competing more against ourselves than we are them, because the only way that, as you just said, the only way that this team should have a prayer is if we give it to them.
Exactly.
Which was exactly the case Sunday past against the Falcons. The only chance that they had was what we handed them.
We turned the ball over, and then we started committing penalties, and it got them within 5 points when statistically we dominated them. And and I think much like the Denver game, they should be, the Eagles should end up being like 2 of 10 or 12 on third downs. They should be terrible on third downs. And I think the bulk of the third down conversions they get might be on that first drive, because we always seem to have trouble in that first drive. But if we play to our potential and we have all the people in that are hurt in on that defense, we should handle them no problem. And hopefully we have a complete offensive line healthy, and we should dominate them offensively, running the ball.
Yeah.
This will not be a big game with Hill throwing the ball over the field. I think we run the ball. Last question, and I know you got to go, but last question. Latavius Murray. A lot of fans were upset because they felt that the reason why Taysom got into this position with the turnovers, the 2 turnovers he did have, was because we weren't running Latavius Murray enough. How do you feel about Latavius Murray, especially late in the game when you're trying to close out a game?
In a way, I would tend to agree with that thought process. At the end of the game, you've got Alvin Kamara, you've got Latavius Murray. Why is Taysom having to run the ball? Mm-hmm. Especially given that it seems to be he's having an issue with ball control. I don't understand why you're not taking advantage of the sure-handed guys that you have.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of agree. I like I said earlier, during the season, I felt that Sean Payton, for whatever reason, feels that Hill is more of a power runner than Murray. What I've seen out of Murray has been, if he gets past the line of scrimmage, he gets a big play. But if he gets stood up at the line of scrimmage, he doesn't gain anything.
Is it just me, or I'm sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to ask you
you're
this.
Fine.
Is it just me, or does it seem that when Taysom is playing quarterback, that Latavius seems to play better and fit into the offense a little better? Because these past 3 games, you've seen kind of a shift with the focal point that Kamara had been being up to this point, and Murray seems to be more of a focal point.
Bring back Ingram. He's not playing tonight. I don't see him out there tonight. I felt like that in the first half. I thought they got the ball to Kamara a lot more in the second half. Here's how I see Kamara. Kamara's never rushed for 100 yards for us as a Saint, believe it or not. He never has. Kamara is the kind of guy who Peyton likes to get out in space, and he throws the ball to him out in space, especially when Brees is in there. Well, Taysom Hill kind of is taking that kind of stuff away because, number one, he doesn't throw the ball into space like that. He is, when Hill's throwing the ball, he's throwing it for 10, 15 yards. He's throwing more of the intermediate than the short routes. And secondly, I think Hill they feel has the speed on these jet sweep and outside plays that that's the kind of stuff that that Kamara got that Hill's just not getting. So I don't know. I thought he was finally going to break the 100-yard barrier Sunday against the Falcons, and he ended up not doing it. I don't know. I think it's some of the plays that Peyton's been calling. He just hasn't been calling Kamara's number as much. So,
I mean, as you have you've stuck to your guns on this for the past couple of seasons, talking about using Kamara less during the season so that you have fresher legs for the playoffs, and I think that possibly could be a factor in it as well.
That could be. I think when he wants to play smash mouth football, his idea is not to play smash mouth with Kamara. His idea of playing smash mouth football is Murray and Taysom taking it to him. So, Kamara is definitely the guy he likes to get on the outside and in space. And Murray is who he likes to go to for the inside game. So I don't know. We'll see. I think this is going to be an inside kind of game. I think this is not going to be one where he throws the ball over the field. People putting up scores. Quick, what's your prediction for a score?
35-20.
Okay. I'm going to say 41-3 or 41-7. Honestly, I just don't see the Eagles putting up many points at all. I think they punt a lot. I think we get turnovers. I think we get a pick six. I think this is the kind of game that unless they break we turn the ball over and give them a short field, or they get a great return, they get a short field. They have a hard time marching 75 yards against our defense with Jalen Hurts. I don't think that. I mean, we beat the crap out of them in 2017, and that was with Wentz. And they were defending. I'm sorry, not 2017, 2018. They were defending Super Bowl champs, and we still kicked them in the teeth with Wentz out there. And I think it's going to be the same kind of game. So, pay the bills real quick, and then we'll sign off.
All right. Thank you guys for joining us on Under the Dome. We always appreciate you being here with us, and we love you guys with all of our hearts. You can follow us on Facebook on the Under the Dome podcast page. You can follow us on Twitter by those things.
Right there.
And
gotta remember the opposite.
Outside of that, who dat, baby?
I think they try and rally around him only because they want to be the upset team. But I just don't think they have the weapons to rally. I really do think we just take it to them because I think we're just that much better of a team than they are.
I hope you're right.
Yeah. Thank you. And like Sean said, thank you for sticking with us. I know we went over time, but it's fun to talk about things when you're winning. There's not a whole heck of a lot of problems. Taysom needs to get with Tiki Barber and learn how to hold the ball high and tight when he is when he's running, and he learns how to cover up that football with both hands when you get into a crowd. And if that's
really and truly, that's the only knock that I have on his performance thus far. And
if that's the only thing we can pick on him about right now, for a guy making his third start, or maybe his fourth start, that's awesome. I mean, it really is.
It really is.
I mean, we're not talking about, oh man, he's just taking too long. He's taking too many sacks. He's inaccurate. We're not talking about any of that. We're really talking about just don't turn the ball over. So that's all fixable. So I feel a lot better about the future than I did 3 weeks ago, where I felt like our future wasn't on the roster, and I'm really thinking about ways that we can get a Matthew Stafford. So I'm really excited about this. So enjoy the game Sunday. Hopefully it's It's 10 in a row, and we and Tampa loses, so we now have a record of the first team to ever win 4 straight division titles. Real quick, did you realize this is the first time we've had 4 consecutive double-digit winning seasons in franchise history? Never did it. Closest you could come up to that was in 87 to 90. We went 12-3 because of the strike, 10-6, 9-7, and 8-8. That was the closest we had to 3 consecutive non-losing seasons, because in 93 93, 94, we did not have a winning season. We had 8-8 and then 7-9. And then in 2009 or 2011, of course, we know what happened in 2012. So yeah, that's huge. We're setting. He's rewriting the record book every time you turn around. This is the golden age of Saints football.
Yep.
Thank you guys for sticking with us, and we'll see you next time on Under the Dome. Good night, everybody.